mind and body, we have medicine, we have, neuroscience, but spirit is what heals us. It's not coming. Science won't heal you. Science will give you coping strategies. So whenever I see evidence-based mental health help, I always think coping strategy. Like every time I see evidence-based mental health, I think coping strategy, because that's what it is. Science cannot figure out spirit. We cannot reduce love. We cannot put love into a jar that we can split it into atoms and go, this is it, or this is the part of the brain that has love. We've been trying to do that for many, many years in neuroscience, trying to find the source of fear in the brain, the source of love in the brain. It just doesn't happen. We can't do it because it's not one thing. It's like light is a wave and a particle, right? It's not just one thing. So science is not going to heal us. Science can give us strategies. It can give us little things that we can use to open the door to us. But what's really going to heal us, what's really going to resolve the mental dysregulation is this spiritual connection to ourselves, to other people, but mostly to ourselves.
Yeah, to ourselves, to other people, and to
The
the
greater,
higher intelligence.
yes, exactly.
Nailed it. So
Without
funny.
God, without going into a specific, Allah,
Yeah,
Jesus, it's consciousness. It's the quantum
consciousness.
field. It's an
Correct.
energy level that we don't see as human beings because we are so seduced by our brains to believe that everything we see is real, and that's all there is. And there is so much that we don't see, and we can use that to actually heal us. That quantum field, that sense that there is a higher power, not necessarily a God in the truest form of the word, but something that is benevolent and is actually looking after you. Because when you were a child, if your parents did not do this, you don't have a trust, you don't have a blueprint for a higher power. You don't have a blueprint for something above you. And the things that were above you maybe treated you badly. So you don't want to trust in a God, because when you trusted in the gods that were your parents, they let you down. But that spirit is still with us. It's still around us. And just because you had a bad experience with your parents does not mean that spirit in and of itself is bad or toxic or fearful or invisible.
Yeah, or
Well, it is.
abandoning, or betraying. I mean, I'm just beaming over here with vitality because you are speaking my language, and so much to say on that. But like even the wave particle thing, it's like that depends on the consciousness of the observer. I mean, there's so. But I'll tell you a funny story because I've intended, and this was reflected back in my equine therapy in crazy ways. I live in the awe and the mystical, and I've just become conscious that that is my essence. That is where I thrive, and when I open and accept that that's who I am and that's my experience and these are my knowings that I've had, it's just all around me at all times, and it's mind blowing and it's miraculous, and there's no limit to what I can witness in
I
the
hear
awe
you,
and the
baby.
mystical. I agree, and I know you
Yeah.
agree, which is why I'm
Yeah.
bringing this up. So I start reading your book on, God, I don't even remember the night. But it was this weekend. It was a couple days ago. And I'm just like in awe of this whole alarm thing. I'm like, that's it. That's the root. This is, he nailed it. Everybody needs to read this book. And, because that's my work. My work right now is my next docuseries is all about remembering, waking people up to the fact that they've disconnected from themselves. And we've forgotten how to feel. And we need to drop in and start to feel so that we don't, everything that you're saying. All that to say, I set the alarm in my house that I'm renting. I've been here for 5 months. Never has the alarm gone off, like triggered by someone. Go to sleep with my 6-year-old who sleeps with me. She falls asleep. This is Monday night. I think this was just last night. No, the night before, Sunday night. And so she falls asleep at 8:09 because I look at my clock and I'm like, okay, I'm going to wait till she falls asleep, then I'm going to read the rest of your book or keep reading in bed with her. But alas, I fall asleep with her. And at 8:53, whole house like blaring, like alarm is triggered. And I'm like, okay, I don't have a gun in my house. I don't have, my neighbor who's like very protective is out of town. Like, what do I do? Do I let the alarm keep going and the police come if there's an actual intruder? What do I do? So I just, I'm like, I lay there. She's not moving. She's sleeping through the whole thing, thank God. I go and I turn off the keypad, and then I go downstairs. Obviously, my soul, sense didn't feel like a real threat, but
Hmm.
obviously my whole system is lit up in this acute alarm activation. And I'm looking, and it says that the front patio door was tripped. So I'm looking out there, nothing there. It's also on a very lit street, so why would anyone enter the front patio door? Also, I was like, this is the first time I've closed the curtains on the front patio door. I never do that. I usually just bolt it. Anyways, the whole thing is very surreal. Nothing happened on the camera. There was no wind to trip the door. The alarm just went off.
Mm.
And it was like this mystical reflection of all, or like, it was something from the universe physically acting out so that I could be aware of my body. And then I ended up calling the police because there was a suspicious car. So the whole time I was just aware of this alarm system going off in my
Yeah.
body. And it was just like, of course, you can't write this shit, you know?
And I think that's true. And I think again, we communicate with ourselves in words. We speak to ourselves. An MIT study has shown this quite clearly, that when we talk to ourselves, about 8 seconds later, we do the action that the words told. Go get a glass of water. So we talk to ourselves in words. We don't talk to ourselves or other people in feelings nearly enough, because we're not as good at it. If you asked me to sort of speak to you in Spanish, I can do it, but I would much rather speak to you in English because I'm much more adept at it. And I think, my Spanish kind of falls away. And I think that's true with feeling. I think when you don't communicate with feeling very much, you get led down the garden path of thinking that thinking is everything. And I think we live in this left hemisphere driven, very mind-based society that believes that thinking is everything. And the more fearful that we get, the more we start relying on like science, and science knows everything. And there's nothing wrong with that in a way, as long as you're aware that you are moving into the thinking realm and you've left the feeling realm. And the more often you feel, and this is true with your own body, the more you leave the feeling realm, the less good you get at it. So healing from anxiety, the old saying is, it's not about feeling better so much as getting better at feeling. Allowing yourself to feel the minutia, the nuance of anxiety, the jealousy, the envy, the disappointment, all this kind of stuff. The thing with us worriers is we tend to railroad any negative emotion down into anxiety and then start worrying about it. So it's like one, two, three. The situation that creates all this worry had nothing to do with anxiety, but our body felt it. Our mind, being a compulsive, meaning-making, make sense machine, has to do something with it, which is basically what you're doing when you're going downstairs. Your mind is like, "What is this? What is this? What is this? What is this?" And your feeling was, I think I'm okay. Like I feel like I'm okay." But in society, that example would be, no, you'd call the police, you'd go around triple checking all the doors, you might buy yourself a gun the next day. That's the thinking part of it. The feeling part of it is what we're losing in society. And we're losing the ability to communicate with ourselves first, and then we lose the ability to communicate with everybody else. And anything other than shame, blame, anger. I have this acronym I call JABS, which is judgment, abandonment, blame, and shame, which is kind of what the humans do specifically to ourselves, and we do it to other people as well. When we feel off balance, when we feel alarmed, we look for judgment, we abandon, we try and go into ourselves, we blame the other people, and then we shame ourselves for doing it, which starts the whole cycle over and over and over again.